Which is most important between cash flow, profit, and revenue?
Top priority anytime, even if you go for any financial statements, you should always first fix your cash flows. There are so many businesses that are registered, but out of that 60 to 70% businesses close down within 1 or 2 years.
If you cannot measure,
You cannot
grow. You cannot grow.
Decoding Business Growth is my way of giving back the knowledge and information that I have.
You probably are an entrepreneur, or you come from an entrepreneurial family, or you work in a business that is facing challenges in one way or another. Could be about people, finances, or operations. Today on the Executive Review Podcast, we are joined by a CFO turned business coach. She is Reena Gore, 20 years of experience helping people operate efficiently and be able to make sense out of their businesses. We are going to talk about operations, but also we are going to look at how operations influence cash flow, revenue, and profits. Which one is king? Join this conversation with me, Rick Okinda, as we unpack Decoding Business Growth. Welcome to the podcast, Reena.
Thank you. That's an amazing way of introducing. Thanks.
You're most welcome. I was just reading your profile, and you're quite established in terms of finance and business development. Maybe you can just introduce yourself, tell our audience what you do, and what we should look forward to in this podcast.
I'm Reena Gore. I'm a CFO turned business coach. I have been in Kenya for more than 20 years, worked on businesses, their processes and systems. What I do now, I help SMEs with setting up those systems and processes so that they are sustainable and ready for that scalability.
She helps businesses to start, to scale, and to be sustainable. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And how should we call this podcast? Maybe you can give us a suggestion?
Decoding Business Growth. That's the
Decoding
theme for me
Business
for next
Growth.
few months now.
Thank you. Subject to what our editors will approve. But anyway, we want to basically help our entrepreneurs to know what is business and how do you get from one point to another in terms of business growth. Kenya is one such country that has so many SMEs being registered every day. There's a time where the reports from Business Registration Service were indicating that in a month, we get at least 500 businesses registered in Kenya.
Yeah.
And I think that shows the entrepreneurial spirit in the country.
Correct.
But the big question here is, do we have these businesses being registered to grow and be able to absorb employment of resources, of personnel, and also solve problems for the community, and also being able to go forward and become corporations that can serve not just Kenya but other markets? That's what I want you to help us understand today.
So the data, as exactly you said, there are so many businesses that are registered. But out of that, 60 to 70% businesses close down within 1 or 2 years.
60 to 70% close down within 1 or 2 years.
1 or 2 years. The reason is we are not short of ideas. Mm-hmm. We have brilliant ideas. We have brilliant technical skills. What we lack is the systems. How can we build that system so that once you start a business, you know there are few things that you will do and the business will be ready to grow. It's not only about technical knowledge. A person can have 100% technical knowledge, have a great fintech idea. You start building that product, but you don't know how to do business because finally it's a business that you're running.
It's a business that you're running. And when you say that lack of systems can lead to business failure, I'm so interested because many people think otherwise. People think it's about money, it's about finances. Some people even believe it's about government policy. They say this is not a good environment for business. But before we get into that section to just see what are the real causes of business failure and how can entrepreneurs overcome them, I want you to just help us understand your professional background.
Sure. So I have been working as CFO for more than 20 years. And as a CFO does not work only on finance. I'm basically a chartered accountant. Okay. And I have worked in businesses whereby when you work as a CFO, you don't only work on finance, you manage the operations, not like literally manage, but you manage the KPIs for those operations. How is it working? Is the supply chain management working in a smooth flow? Is my inventory in line? Is my cash available? What is my debt to equity ratio? There's a lot of stuff that goes into a CFO role, right? So when you have done that for a long time, you see that, why should I restrict myself and work only for one company? Whereby I can see there are those 60% of SMEs whom I can go and help, and they can actually build up and they can grow and become the corporations that you're talking about, right? So that is my whole agenda and my passion to help SMEs. The authority comes from there because 20 years I've worked with companies like Ramco Group, like Sunflag Textiles, like Abyssinia Group. I have worked with major companies, and I have seen how they have built those systems, how they have brought that company from zero to where they are today. So yes, definitely.
Wow, that's quite a profile. You're talking about 20 years of experience in the industry and an academic background in accounting. And that is a chartered accountant.
Yep.
And also you have been able to work across industries. So you understand how each industry operates.
Yes.
And actually, we'll also want to look at why you chose to leave employment and come to help people establish their businesses as a consultant. Because when I look at this, it looks like more of a different space because when you're practicing under an organization, a big organization like the ones you've mentioned, it's a different ballgame from the consultancy space. Maybe you can tell us how is it now as a consultant?
So it's very interesting because when you're with one organization, you are limited, or your brain gets limited to thinking or improving the processes limited to that organization. But now as you have grown in your career in last 15-20 years, you have worked with different companies, different manufacturing spaces. Now you can add so much value in a very different way, not specific to my role, right?
Yeah.
And then how would you do that? How would you spread your wings? So it's better to come out and
I get it. What I can get out of that now that we are in the World Cup season is to look at players, football players,
Right.
who were stars during their football games, football days, and now they're taking up other roles in the soccer or in the football industry.
Right.
One such player is Zinedine Zidane, who was a very good player, and now he's in media talking about the sports, the media side of sports.
Right.
And we also have a few coaches, people who are coaching teams that were initially players, and now they are coaching. The coach for Arsenal, we know, was a good player at some point, and now he's coaching. And also the new coach for Manchester United, that is Michael Carrick.
Okay.
And we can only get these examples to see that for sure, if you have been a good player, let's say for you, 15 years plus, you can come out here and help others also to grow in their spaces, isn't it?
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
now that you're talking about football, Reena, are you following up anything to do with the World Cup 2026?
So, for me, football is like finance to a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So I only know Ronaldo and Messi. That's all I know about football. And like there is a competition that keeps on happening between how many goals has Messi scored and how much Ronaldo. That's all I follow. Apart from that,
and actually,
please
right now,
forgive me.
Messi, I think, is ahead of Ronaldo in
he's
terms
had
of goals.
6, right?
Yeah, and they're going to be more because World Cup is still on.
Just started,
Yeah, and I think also there are many other people looking for those scores to get just in case they make it to the semis or the finals, to get the golden boots. Back to the business of the day. Now, I want us to look at a business model in Kenya, the various aspects of business that an entrepreneur should be concerned about. You know, when you go into, for example, when you go into a football pitch and you see a game of soccer being played, there will always be divisions. There is the goalkeeping, there's the defending, there's the midfield, and then there's the striking. And then there's a manager somewhere like you who is a consultant. Like for the case of Brazil, you would see Carlo Ancelotti, or for the US, you'll see Mauricio Pochettino. But now for you, you are the coach here, and there are various divisions in the businesses that you support. I want you to help us understand the various departments in businesses and how all these need to work together to make sure that a business is able to start and grow in a steady way.
Perfect. And a perfect question. So there are many departments in a business, right? It can be manufacturing industry, it can be service industry. For me, I have come up with a framework, and I call it an FPO framework.
The FPO framework.
Yes,
Maybe you
whereby,
can tell us what that means.
yeah. So F stands for finance, P stands for people, and O stands for operations.
Finance, people,
And
operations.
operations, yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I believe business stands on these three pillars. If you align these through, so what I have observed throughout is people either focus only on finance or only on people or managing operations and people, but no one has really got into that depth to see that all these three are aligned together and they work together as a team, as a football team. You cannot play alone.
Yeah.
It has to be a teamwork. So when these three departments work together and are aligned towards the company goal, towards the vision that you have created for, only then the business can grow. There are different ways of managing them, different metrics that you should monitor. For finance, I would say, uh, uh, I have written a book. It's called Decoding Business Growth.
Decoding business growth.
Yes,
Okay.
and I have divided that book into three sections: finance, people, and operations. And what I have done is picked up real case studies from the real Kenyan life. Okay, you can actually relate to it. Like, for example, a logistics business, a person who is doing managing basic trucks, helping with the transport, right? He has a very good clientele. Now he and these are like top clients, huh? They are paying well him. He has agreed for terms of 60 days and they are paying in time, but he has a everyday issue of managing the cash flow. The truck driver will come today, there's a breakdown, I need to fuel, and every day there is a firefighting that is happening on the ground. Why? That is the question now. If you have managed well, you know your clients, they are paying in time, then why are you firefighting every day? The reason is there is no proper systematic way of handling it. You're not monitoring your cash conversion cycle every day, right? So, one of the solutions that I have given, it's one of the chapters actually from the book. One of the solutions that I have given is sit with your client and ask the client, if I give you an option of paying me in cash, I can give you, say, 2% discount. Would the client agree? There is lot of mindset that already goes, for example, especially in family owned businesses, whereby they will say, oh no, these ones were negotiated by my father. He had those friends and they have negotiated, I cannot go and disturb those terms now. No, it's a business. Don't be very harsh, be polite, but start the conversation that now the terms are changing, the economy is changing. Can we sit across the table and understand, this is my issue on cash flows, can we come out with some better terms? And you would be surprised that really people do agree many times.
Yeah.
And this will help you solve your cash flow crisis on a day. So you're stopped your firefighting, and now the time you have got for yourself, you can really focus on building more relationships and growing your business.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing every day from where do I bring that cash to which client should I look out for, is the whole shift that happens.
Yeah. So you've spoken about finance, people, and
Operations. Yeah.
And still on the case of finance, as one of the major parts of a business, you've highlighted cash flow.
Yeah.
And then also in your book, I've seen a snippet that there should be a different understanding to what cash flow really means, what profits really means,
Yeah.
and also what revenue means.
Yeah.
Maybe you may want our viewers to understand what it means to say this is revenue and cash flow and profits, and how we should treat each
Yeah.
of these items.
So revenue is your sales that you do.
Yeah.
So for example, let's take the same example of the transport guy. So if I'm charging say 25,000 for transport from here to Mombasa, right? That is my revenue, 25,000. When I put my operational expenses like my fuel, the driver's salary, etc., any other maintenance for the vehicle, say per vehicle for per trip, my expenses come up to say 17,000, right? So the balance 8,000 is my profit. So revenue is what you charge to the customer. Profit is something that you get after removing your operational expenses. Now, cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is I'm spending that money on fuel today, but I am getting paid for that trip after 60 days. So how am I bridging that gap?
Yeah. So
That's cash flow.
That is cash flow. And which is most important between cash flow, profit, and revenue?
Top priority anytime, even if you go for any financial statements, you should always first fix your cash flows.
Always first fix your cash flow. I want to give you a question, kind of a paradox. Huh? You have one business, you have business case A, whereby your profit margins are very narrow, let's say 4%, but the business is liquid. It has good cash flow.
Correct.
And then you have another case where the profit margins are, let's say, 23%, 23, 24%. But then the business is not liquid. These are, maybe it's a case for, in the Kenyan case, you are supplying to government or to multinational organizations that will take you 60 days plus to get your LPOs converted into cash flow.
Not even 60 days.
Even more.
It will be 90 to 120 days.
90 to 120 days to get your cash flows converted. But once your cash flows, once the invoices are paid, you get your margins right. You get upwards of 24% in terms of business margin. And then we have another case of a business that is actually loss-making in the moment, but the revenues are steadily growing. It's loss-making because of market share. They have a smaller market share today, but you can clearly see that they are widening their market share. And if you give them time, they are going to make profits in the future. So as Reena Gore, what will you advise these three cases in terms of how to treat their business?
So for me, the priority would be the one that is liquid.
The one that is liquid.
One that is liquid.
4% margin business.
The 4% margin business, because if you can increase the volumes there, imagine the 4%, it's relative, right? 4% can be 1 million, 4% can be 10 million. You don't know what that 4% is. But if it's liquid, that means, for example, if it's an FMCG business, your cash conversion cycles are fast, right? You get your money within 15 days. It's very easy and much profitable to increase your business, right? Whereas compared to that government project that you're talking about, you have supplied that goods, you must have taken either LC or some bank, some loan, or even if it is out of your own pocket, you had that money and you invested. Still, if you see the opportunity cost of it, if you would have taken loan, it would have costed you 18-19% of interest. Have you considered that interest when you're giving the costing or whatever, when you're charging the government? You might have taken 60 days for exactly the way you said. They end up paying after not even 4 months. We know the reality, right? Government projects, they don't even come for 2 years. So what is the use of that 24%? It can be, say, even 10 million, but I don't know when I'm going to realize that, and I cannot utilize it for my business. I cannot grow my business, right? So for me, personally, I would not go for that. The third scenario you said was?
It's a loss-making business in the short run. But they're loss-making because of market share, and the market share is widening.
So loss-making in the sense, if it is a startup.
It's a startup.
If it's a startup and it's loss-making, but you have analyzed the whole project, you have studied that first 6 months would be loss making, and from 7th month or 10th month I'm going to start making money. If it's a calculated project and it's working the way we have projected, then it's fine. But if it's loss making, then there is something wrong. You really need to figure out what is wrong, and that's what I do in my profit pulse audit. So you first need to figure out why there is a loss. If it's a startup and you know that, yes, initially there is a lot of capex that I have invested and it has to recover, that's fine. It's okay.
So I think these are real case scenarios in modern day businesses, because even myself, I've met so many people, friends and family, who run high capex kind of companies, and they tell you, we are not making money. We are spending a lot on payroll. We are spending a lot on rent.
Correct.
But we are not seeing the results. And then you ask somebody, why don't you close this business? They say, no, the future is promising. We
Yeah.
are widening our market share.
Yeah.
And also there's the case that you've given us. Sometimes it's not worth it
Yeah.
to push a big margin, but slow cash flow. Because, for example, the case of waiting to be paid for more than 90 days.
90 days,
that
or
is
even it takes even 6 months.
Even
So
6
you are
months.
just waiting. It's just an illusion for me. I would say it's just an illusion that you're going to make money from there. By
Yeah.
the time the money is coming, if you have calculated the costs, you have already
Yeah.
gone, far beyond.
And I think if you look at some of the leading companies, especially in Kenya and even globally, for example, in Kenya, among the biggest companies in these markets, locally, with the biggest, either locally owned or listed on the local stock markets, like the East African Breweries Limited or Safaricom PLC, you would see that the kind of products they sell are high cash flow products.
Correct.
If it's Safaricom, you've got to buy data, they make their money immediately.
Correct.
And also globally, if you look at for a company like, for example, this Elon company that has just been listed, SpaceX. SpaceX, one of their retail businesses is data through
the modems,
Starlink.
Starlink,
So
correct.
you see, every time you're buying data, that is money that doesn't wait. They make money quickly.
Correct.
And I think that's what you're saying in terms of cash flow.
Correct.
So I want us now to also look at the real causes of business failure in Kenya. There's a time I was talking to a few friends of mine who are running businesses, because I also get to engage a lot with entrepreneurs because my background is also in finance. And they're telling me, Patrick, actually they were diasporans and they were looking to invest in Kenya. We've got money to invest in Kenya, in our businesses in Kenya as part of our return strategy to the country. But our biggest challenge is whether this business will succeed or not. And we have tried businesses before in Kenya and they have not succeeded. And I asked them, why didn't they succeed? They couldn't give me that answer. Probably you know better. But one of the things that was coming out clearly is that they were not doing their businesses in a way that was as structured as the way they do business in the US, because they are also entrepreneurs in the US. And it was clear that amorphousness is one of the leading causes of business failure in this category of people. So I want you maybe to just guide us, help us know the real causes of business failure that people should be able to avoid when they are in business, and also opportunities to grow these businesses, because we just don't want to play defensive. We also want to be offensive on the growth side.
You should.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the most common factor that I have seen is people using the money from the business for their personal use.
Personal use.
So, for example, if there is a bakery, for example, and I am running the bakery well, I have say 200,000 revenue every month. Okay, out of which, for example, my profit is 150. 100,000 I'm withdrawing every month
from the bakery.
And sometimes I might buy, I don't know, a phone. I might use it at my home. So do you really think that you had really made a profit of 100,000? No.
Yeah.
Right? Because you had not calculated your own salary. We don't put our own salary into the business. You should be withdrawing specific amount of salary from your business. The whole profit is not to be withdrawn.
Yeah.
So a portion, say at least 10 or 20%, you should keep aside.
There should be a retained earning.
Correct. Retained earning, a kind of emergency fund.
Emergency fund.
You should have it for your business, or maybe a growth fund for that matter.
Yeah.
That in 1 or 2 years, I want to grow from this space to this space. And you should have some accumulated funds for that. So that things don't happen. So financial discipline is one key area where businesses miss out. And second, another important factor is when a person starts a business, he is or she is all alone, right? And you're doing everything on your own.
Yeah.
You are the salesperson, you are the production person, you are doing everything.
You are the business.
You are the business.
Yeah.
In 1 year, you have settled. Yeah. Now, you have hired few people also, maybe from your family or whatever. But you don't put them into documentation process. You don't document them as standard operating processes. Now,
Yeah.
what happens? The whole business is depending upon you.
Yeah.
If you're not there for 1 month, business might collapse. Some fraud will happen, something. So that is one of the major reasons why a lot of businesses fail. No correct documentation and the dependency on one person.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you actually manage these two, you
Yeah.
should be good.
Yeah. So the case of dependency on one person is a case of many SMEs
Yep.
because
I have seen
many
that.
SMEs are as strong as the founder.
Forget SMEs, like the medium and up to large.
Even large companies.
Yeah, they have that problem.
And medium-sized companies. So if you have a medium-sized company or even a large company, but they are highly dependent on the founder, and the manner in which the founder conducts themselves has a direct impact on the business, whether it's their financial behavior or whether it's their availability to the business, or whether it's even their health issues. Someone can just fall sick and it goes ahead and affects the business.
Correct.
So I want you to talk to founders because many founders now are in this situation. They would really want to institutionalize the business and relinquish some roles. But again, I've also noticed that many people it's not an easy decision, that you are the one used to make decisions about money and now it's time to let someone go. Do it.
Letting go.
Yeah. So what will you advise founders on letting go and allowing themselves holiday out of the business and also paying themselves a salary and restricting themselves from earning in alternative ways from the business?
So my advice to the founders would be document the process. You might not be able to delegate 100%, but delegation is the key. You need, so it finally comes down to leadership, whereby you have to multiply your leadership. You have to build more leaders who would carry your legacy, who would think like you. And the process is, see, the business does not mean a person, right? You can, at least 80% of your processes can be documented, and it can be delegated. It can be a process. You can start now. In 6 months, you will see the difference. You don't have to delegate today and then tomorrow you go on vacation. It doesn't work like that. It's a process. Start building brick by brick, one step at a time. In 6 months, you will see a different. First, identify the right person for the right role.
Yeah.
Very important. Need not be necessarily your family member. That is what I keep on telling, because that is also another trend that happens in Kenya, or I think in a lot of countries. You hire people from your family. It's very good. You should. But is it the right person for the right job?
The right person for the right job. And when you're talking about recruitment and being able to know that this is the right person for the right job, what are the risks of failing to follow meritocracy when you're focusing on family? Because again, family is important, especially when you cannot attract employees. Because there's that stage of the business where the business cannot attract employees, and therefore the only people who can trust you probably are family.
Right.
So what are the risks of failing to recruit properly? What is the cost of poor recruitment process in the business?
So, there is always a cost.
Yeah.
So when you say that my business is not ready for hiring, I'm not saying don't hire family people. You have to. You have to support your own family. But keep a standard procedure or a system. Like this is the job description.
Succeed through the system.
Correct. So this is the job description. These are the roles you have to play, and these are the KPIs which you will be monitored on. Right. It's not difficult with AI now. Right. You, even if it is a small role of say an accountant. Okay, you're hiring someone from your family as an accountant. Give a clear role that you will have to give me my profit and loss on a monthly basis. Daily, I want to see this reports. We will review it every month. You should be able to explain me things. You just monitor that person and help the person grow as well. It's your duty as a leader to help the person grow as well. Empower them with right tools, right knowledge that they want. But have something that you can measure on. If you can't measure, you cannot grow. That's a bottom line. You have to measure.
If you cannot measure,
you cannot
grow. You cannot grow. Let's go back to the growth discussion in terms of business. And there's one very good example that has just happened in the Kenyan environment. I think in the previous month of June, we saw Family Bank Limited going public on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And I think the story of Family Bank, because I have heard the founder telling that story so passionately. I don't know if you have watched that presentation. The founder is called TK Muya, Titus K. Muya.
Okay.
He started the bank way back, I think in the 80s, and it was just a building society. And he didn't have what it takes to run a bank, according to what he was told by the regulator. But it started small, hired himself and appointed himself everything, the CEO, the accountant, the everything, the branch manager for the first branch. But then the bank was able to do what you're saying, be able to adopt people who could take up roles and make the founder to be more of a leader, and the execution was being done by a team. And I think today Family Bank is one of the Tier 1 banks in Kenya because of that consistent growth. I think in the year 2008.
And consistent building of systems. So you'll see the pattern.
Yes.
Any company that has grown from basic one person family business, own business, to a corporate. They have built a system. It's a pattern, and it's like consistent throughout.
Yeah.
Any country.
So I think that's a very good example which other entrepreneurs can take
Of
it up.
course.
It can be replicated in other industries. Like right now, from 2008, it became a major Tier 1 bank. And I think in June 2026, it is now a listed bank. Wow. That means even the ownership is now with the public. Is now with the public, and the bank can make much more money. It can attract more capital from the markets. And I know there are many other examples cutting across. I want us to look now at the case of Kenya again. When we started this podcast, you said that many businesses close within the first 2 years of operations. And then when they close after 2 years of operations, what happens? Do we see these founders starting other businesses, or because you've been studying? So what do you do with a business that is telling you you're going to close?
Okay, I think it's a mixed reaction within the country, because if you have failed in one business, I see a lot of people going back to employment.
Yeah.
Because that's a safer
world
space to play, right? Yeah. You have your fixed paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go from business
back to
employment.
Yeah.
But that is also tough, because now once you're used to being an employer yourself, going back to a work culture is also difficult. So it's a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might be starting a new business. Yeah. But if they have not learned the lessons, and if they don't do it the right way again, it's a cycle that will continue.
It's a cycle that can continue.
And that is the reason I have written this book, so that they can go read the book and, at least try to learn from there.
Yeah. We are coming to the book just in a moment. But there's one more aspect of this discussion that I want us to touch on. The operation side. You remember the FPO?
Right.
Now, absolutely. I want us to talk about operations.
Correct.
What are operations, and what should concern a business owner on matters of operations?
So operations for different industry will mean different things. For manufacturing, it will be understanding how the plant is working, what my machine's efficiency is there. If it is a delivery sector, for example, if it's a logistics company, what is my performance on my trucks turnover, how fast, how many more deliveries I can do. So there are different metrics for each type of industry.
Yeah.
And you need to monitor these operations in such a way that, because this is also another core of your business. If your operations are not efficient, no matter how good you manage your finance, you will not be... See, if a truck can do, say, 5 trips in a day, and I am managing it with 2 or 3 trips and I'm happy,
you are not maximizing.
Yeah, I can monitor my cash flows as much as I want, but the operations should also be, supporting it. So that's why I call it a 3-pillar store.
Yeah.
So operations also include, understanding your inventory turnovers.
Yeah.
Your inventory is like literally cash sitting in your warehouse, right? So if you exactly the way your cash flow should be quick, and you should be converting it very quickly, your inventory should also be converting. So there is one specific problem that I have seen happening throughout a lot of manufacturing companies that I've worked with. Production will be producing few things, and still you will see salespeople, and there is inventory sitting in your warehouse. Huh? Still, salespeople will keep on complaining that this delivery was to happen and this is still in production.
Yeah.
But
That's
now
a
you
backlog of
have,
orders now.
but now you have inventory. So
Yeah.
why would there be a struggle? Because you are not aligned. The sales order, what they want, and what the production is producing is not aligned.
Yeah.
So that is on
So
operations.
operations is like the artery of a business. It
Yes.
connects all the parts and makes sure that there's efficiency and there's happiness from the customer side,
Correct.
but also there's utilization of all the resources available.
And how would you do that?
Yeah.
You would do by standardizing the operations.
Standardizing the operations.
Because if I'm dependent, again, going to the same principle, if I'm dependent on one person, he's very efficient, he knows how to manage the logistics, he knows how to manage the production. If that person is not there for a month, should my operations break down? No, there has to be a standard operating procedures whereby if anyone comes and plugs in, okay, there is definitely a value to a human. You can't literally replace, but your operations would not suffer as much as you think.
Yeah.
The dependency is reduced.
The dependency is reduced. And I think that is now systemization of the
Yes.
business and making a business an institution. And it's also connected to business continuity plans.
Correct.
Yeah. So did we talk about people?
We have talked about people, but you can.
Yeah. So on matters
Feel
people, we live in an age where we see companies must have a face. Initially, you would run a company and nobody will know who is the owner. But today, I think it is becoming increasingly important for businesses to have faces of human beings. And also, we are seeing a lot of effort from businesses to increase their customer experience, because we are dealing with a market that is so sensitive in the age of information and a lot of competition. So I would want you to, again, just help us understand as a business person, even as you spoke about delegation. When you're delegating, what are the important things to do to make sure that as you're delegating these roles, the business is able to have very good rapport with the market and with the community and society, but also the business is able to have a human face to it, such that when there is trouble, it can be approached from a human perspective.
So when it comes to people and delegation, again, it is when you have correct systems and standards in place. Right? When I know I can delegate 1, 2, 3 tasks to a person. Delegation does not mean dumping all your things from your table to that person. Delegation means training that person and making that person worth giving more tasks, more responsibilities.
Yeah.
So you are also empowering the person with more tools, more trainings. Don't just go and dump, oh, this I have delegated. That does not mean delegation. You have to train the person in a right way. So if there are standard processes in place, you know what kind of task I can delegate, at what level, when the person is ready. Continuous monitor that person, mentor, coach that person, so that that person is ready. Because if a company has a reputation and has a certain way of interacting with the customers, okay, the person, when you're delegating that task, that person should be able to live up to that standards.
Yeah.
So how would you do that unless you're not training that person in a right way? So document it. I always say document it and mentor the person, because when it comes to people, you're dealing with human beings, you're dealing with emotions. The person might be going through some tough time, the person might, you might see that person is not performing, might be going through some. Just try to be human, more human, have some empathy, train the person, empowering them with tools and resources. Very important.
That is very good. And I think the issue to do with people is a continuous process.
It's a continuous.
Human capital development. It's human capital development. Okay, thank you, Reena Gore. I don't know if you'd want to share with us any business cases that you have been able to support and solve, so that we can just see the practical side. You've given a good examples on the transport sector and the bakery sector, but maybe this is an opportunity for you just to give us a case example of maybe a business. You don't have to mention their name.
Right.
Where you got them at, which level were they when you started supporting them, and how they have grown since, and the difference that you have seen?
So one of the examples that I give a lot of times is one of the textile industries that I have worked with. When I started off, and by systems I don't mean you need to really invest on IT technology.
Yeah.
Systems can be without. So that is one of the most best example that I have studied myself. The company was working on spreadsheets, but the detailed spreadsheets we were working on, like every day I would know what was the quality check happened at how many square meters, because it was a textile manufacturing. What was the per square meter, my labor cost, my cost for my electricity, the detailed management of systems that you can come up with. That was one of the best. So you can monitor your inventory, you can monitor your cash flow cycles, daily working capital, how much you're having, 3 4 metrics, and the company is running so smoothly.
Yeah.
So that is one example that
and
I
the owner is
always
still in
give.
the business, or the owner has now
the owner
delegated.
the owner does not even come, like meets me once in a quarter,
Okay.
doesn't have to be there.
So the business has now overcome the owner.
From the so the major challenge I solved was on the inventory.
Yeah.
Inventory was messed up. The production was clean, we had all the production data, but the inventory was not clean. So we came up with correct again spreadsheet, because it was all manual.
Yeah.
On spreadsheets, but each and every inventory item, movement of that inventory, what happened. So we could literally do this. Raw material yarn came for so many whatever kgs or tons, up to that conversion has happened into this one. Does it tie back to my production? If my inventory has reduced, does it tie back to my sales? Each and everything was monitored, and that transition helped the company to see your inventory in such a way that now I understand that my conversion is not happening fast, I need to work on this, so the cash flows improve.
The cash flows have improved, and thank you for that support. I want you to just give us a brief overview of what your book is all about. I don't know if if it's already in the market, if you have launched it, but what is Decoding Business Growth, and why did you choose to write this book? What should readers look forward to getting this book when they read it?
So, Decoding Business Growth is my way of giving back the knowledge and information that I have. It is practical case studies, it's not a novel or a story book. It is a toolkit whereby you pick one problem. If you are having challenges in your business, you think that my finances, I don't see my cash flows anytime. Every time my business is growing, but I don't have money. Go to the finance part of it, check the chapters, read there is a practical case study, there is a solution, the FPO solution for you, and the lesson that you have learned from that case study. So I have made it so simple that everyone should actually, if you are an accountant, or if you're a business owner, or you're starting up your business, you should, I think this is a must read for anyone.
So anyone means everyone, because
Anyone and everyone, because at
Yeah.
one point of time, even if you're working, you still need, even if you're in supply chain, you need to understand business as a whole.
Yeah. Whether you are a business owner or you're working in somebody's business, it's important to get these skills right,
Right.
so that you can support the growth of business.
Perfect.
Wow. Wow. And that brings us to the end of this conversation. Reena Gore, you can't imagine, it's almost 45 minutes
Amazing.
plus
We have
just
talked.
having this conversation. And
But I have enjoyed the conversation. It was amazing.
you have enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, I've also learned a lot actually from you and your experiences. I know that is just a tip of the iceberg. There's much more to learn from you. Maybe we can discuss how best we can advance this conversation for our audience who would want to hear more from you, especially regarding business growth, because Kenya is an entrepreneurial nation.
Yeah.
And people are looking to make their businesses successful. And also, I'm aware there are so many people who are out there. They are in that stage where they want now to hand over the business to the next generation.
Correct.
And they want to do it right, business
Correct.
succession. And they are also that generation that is now taking over businesses from their founders.
Yeah.
And they're asking themselves, what can I do to make sure
Yeah.
that we are as successful as our founders? The founders could be their parents, or they could be CEOs and managers in somebody's business, and they want to do it right. This has been an executive review on Decoding Business Growth. Now, this is a book that has been written by our guest of the day, Reena Gore, who is an experienced financial advisor and also a business growth strategist. You've heard from her talking about people, finance, operations, and also giving case studies on how you can start your business, stabilize it, and scale, and also make practical solutions whenever you have challenges, especially around finances, people, and the founder challenges. Many founders rarely know how to separate the business from themselves and allow the business to grow into the next level. Check out her book on Nuria Bookstore, and you can be able to get these lessons from Reena Gore. I have been your host, Rick Okinda. It's been a pleasure engaging you. I hope that you have already subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for keeping up all the way to the end.